Let me do the music. Okay, enough of those shenanigans, but this is a novel idea. Time+Tide with smartwatches everywhere. You know, it's connecting to the Bluetooth in the speakers. It's all happening. But that's what happens when TAG Heuer, in our sphere of luxury watchmaking, have another crack at the connected watch, at the smartwatch, and bring the best of Swiss watchmaking, ideally, to a category that the Swiss have traditionally not had much of a role in. TAG want to change all that, and again, they have refined their offering with a model that we've reviewed elsewhere, the 42mm on my wrist, which is about to leave, and the new edition 4 of the 45mm version, which we're going to get into now. And the way we're going to do that is by comparing it to the edition 3 45mm connected watch. Let's go. Firstly, fit and feel. How is this watch physically and how does it feel on the wrist compared to the edition 3? So the edition 4 is the same diameter, it's 45mm. However, it is a little thicker at 15mm compared to 13.5, and that is on account of a new function, an altimeter function, and also extended battery life is the reasoning that we can come up with for why there is a few extra millimeters of dimension. There is also, on this version, a 54mm lug to lug. So in terms of how that wears on my 7-inch wrist, it pretty much goes to the extent of my wrist. It's 85mm in weight, as a DLC titanium model is reasonable, therefore it's not feeling extra bulky on my wrist. We don't have the lug to lug of the edition 3, but I'm expecting with a similar lug profile that it is going to be very similar. However, speaking of profile and speaking of case, the edition 4 is a refined proposition in terms of this watch case. We have a more sleek case profile. We have integrated pushers that are very nicely sort of recessed into the titanium case. And we also have a nice mechanical actuation in terms of the feel of these chronograph style pushers and the way that they operate. It is very nice to press them and feel a satisfying click, as opposed to the wrist feel or the haptics of previous models definitely reminded you that they were a smartwatch and not a mechanical watch. Now, in terms of the aesthetics of the edition 4 versus the edition 3, there are definitely some refinements to the case which reduce its height and reduce its heft on wrist. Slightly sculpturing the sides of the case and recessing those pushers has made a big difference to the way the watch looks. However, both are said to be inspired by the Carrera. And if you know the Carrera well, if you've grown up around Carreras, you're going to glance at this and see exactly what I'm talking about. It's the shape of the lugs, it's the very round face, it's there in some of the more subliminal details, but certainly the edition 4 continues to be inspired by the Carrera. Now, like I said in my review of the 42mm connected watch, I am more of a 42mm and under size watch wearer. However, I can report that this watch on wrist, being only 89 grams, and in that DLC titanium, it really isn't bothering me with its heft and size. It's a very light and comfortable watch, and the strap is exceptionally comfortable. That's partly because of the quality of the rubber, and TAG Heuer deployants never really fail to deliver. They're very solid, but also because of a bracelet that can be adjusted infinitely. So there are no holes to align each clasp position to. You can adjust it to the micron to get it exactly right for a fit. So the fit of the watch and the feel of the watch, light, very well secured, very balanced because of that light titanium. And again, large on the wrist, but we'll get to the upside of that in a minute, because certainly the screen of this at 1.39 inches is very big, very bold, very bright, and certainly the best version of the TAG Heuer connected screen by a long way. Moving on to the crown, it is a rubberized crown, but it is larger, which makes it easier to manipulate. Now, you use the crown for a lot of functions on this watch. It's for scrolling, it's for activating, so having it simply larger makes a lot of these functions easier to use, to access, to select. Okay, the technical side of things, what's changed? Well, we have an OLED screen, we have a Bluetooth 5.0 platform in use, and we have an altimeter, which adds to the barometer, heart rate, and compass from the previous version. Now, my favorite thing about this watch in terms of what else it brings to the table and what it brings in this glorious 1.39-inch OLED screen is the workout function. Now, instead of just telling you what to do and measuring your heart rate, the beauty of this watch is it gives you guided workouts with an animation. There's nothing worse than doing a really fantastically intentioned workout in really bad form or in a way that actually isn't maximizing those activities. So sit-ups, push-ups, the basics, but also variations of that are depicted on this screen with an animated figure that shows you exactly how to do it. So it's not a small detail. I was about to say it's a small detail. This is quite a big addition for those that are really fitness focused. The wellness part of this watch in terms of the wellness vertical within the watch's functions is well optioned with lots of options, but certainly the guided workout. It's what I saw in the first trailer for the watch. I've been looking forward to seeing it in action. It's pretty awesome. On the practical side, this watch has an all-day battery, which is what they're calling this, which is 30% improved on edition 3. So I've said this before, I'll say it again. Battery life is just the bugbear of me and so many devices. The fact that this is improved by 30% is definitely worth noting. Lastly, we have a Snapdragon 4100 Plus processor, which I'm sure means something to somebody. All that really means to me is that there's almost zero latency between programs. There is nice responsive movement from the actuators in terms of the chronograph pushes and the crown. So it's a pretty sleek piece of kit in terms of how quickly things happen, how well things move. I don't really have any complaints so far. So there you have it. This is the new edition 4 of the TAG Heuer connected watch at 45mm in DLC coated titanium. In terms of the way the tech is working and in terms of what it's offering, you know, improved battery life, OLED screen, faster processor, more and more functionality that is useful. For me, the guided workout function is very useful. They're getting better in the game. What do you think of TAG Heuer's connected watches, and does this change anything for you? We have had a long story of connected watches over the years. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.